5 settings to use on the DJI Mini 4 Pro you might not know about, or you might not know exactly how to use them. Let's do this. Hello, welcome once again to the channel on this very cold day here in the UK. Rain's holding off at the moment, but who knows what's around the corner. Somebody suggested snow the other day. Well, that can keep right out of the way. So on with the video. It's all about setting this little fellow up. There's a couple of settings that you might not know about, as I said earlier, or not know exactly how to use them. And that's what today's video is all about. Let's get straight into it and have a look exactly what I'm talking about. So, okay, the first thing to do when you're setting up your drone, you need to change a couple of settings. If you're going to safety, by default, the obstacle avoidance action is set to brake, and you need to change that to bypass. The next thing you need to do is to go into control and select subject scanning. What this does, this enables the drone to see anything that is a potential target, like my car just there, you can see. And if you tap onto the plus, it will then initiate spotlight and active track. You can see that's now in spotlight mode. I did cover this in another video, which you can see a card just up there. So that's subject scanning. If we turn off spotlight mode, you see as those cars go by, it's trying to pick them up as a subject. Similarly, if I was to get out of the car, which I will do, but the traffic noise will be horrendous and it should pick me up as well. We'll just try that. There we go. It's trying to pick me up now. Zoom in a little. So you have your options with spotlight. What you can do is you can turn that off if you don't need it, and the pluses go away. Let's get back into the car. Now the next setting you need to do to change, and we know that the Mini 4 has cruise control. And for this to work, what we need to do is we need to go into settings again, into control and button customization. And what we need to do is select one of these buttons, and as you can see, I've already set mine to cruise control. I think by default this is set on one of your camera settings. But all you do need to do is to make sure that cruise controls is selected, as you can see just there, and now it's enabled. So without that you won't be able to use cruise control. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the drone forward, hit the C2 button, and now that's enabled cruise control. And you can either stop it by tapping it on the screen just there, and just bring it back. So go forward once again and hit the cruise control enabled, and then if you hit the C2 button again, that cancels it as well. I quite like this feature. I think this is really good. Not only can you just use it for forward motion, but what you can also do is a multiple of things. So if I go forward and up and to the left slightly and hit cruise control, that will now stay in that motion, and you can get some really nice cinematic shots. What you can also do is you can increase the height as you go in, and it's creeping up slightly, and similarly if we bring it down, it will now keep decreasing. So we just cancel that and bring it back. hit cruise control once again, and as you can see, that's now doing a nice pan to the left as it's flying forward, and it's locked the height. I'll bring it back because the battery's a little bit low. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is the auto exposure lock. And what this does, as you can see at the moment, it's in auto and the EV is set to 0. Okay, so if we underexpose by 0.7, underexposed by 1, there we go, 0.7. And then if you tap on the screen, you get a box that comes up, and then if you tap and hold it, that brings up the auto exposure lock. What that does, that locks the exposure into the value that you've just set. So the EV value will not change whilst it's in that position, which can be quite handy on sunny days. If we just have a little fly around, and you can see, although I'm facing the sun, that exposure value is locked and it won't affect it. This will actually give you better footage, because if you're trying to fly around and it was not locked, basically what it would do, the EV value would be changing constantly, and it will make your footage look a little bit, well, not very good, let's put it that way. So there we go, that's auto exposure lock. And then obviously you press and hold, and that lock will come off. So the final setting is the auxiliary light. What we need to do is to go into the settings, and we need to customize the buttons once again so that we can turn this light on and off as we want to. So going into control and down to button customization, I'm going to set the C1 button, which is just there, to auxiliary light, and now we're away to go. So off she goes, and as you can see straight away, the auxiliary light will come on when you take off at night. But what I've done is I've enabled the auxiliary light so that I can turn it off and on. Once it gets beyond a certain height, that light will go off. As just done then, you can just see the flashing lights on the arms. Just take it out a little way, and then I'm just going to enable the auxiliary light by clicking on the C1 button, which I've just programmed, and you can see the lights come on. And I just fly it backwards slightly and get a better view of it. There we go, the light's off at the moment. And we'll put it back on. There we go. And that's mega bright. It really is to the naked eye. And then we'll bring it down to land. And as she comes down to land and gets stable, the auxiliary light will come on as it starts to land. And there you go, the light's on, and it's seeing its landing position, and down she goes. Really quite a useful tool is the auxiliary light. So there you go, just 5 simple settings that you can make sure that when you set this little fellow up, you've got them right. The first one, that was the obstacle avoidance. Make sure it's on bypass. We don't want it breaking and then you suddenly can't get out of that situation. Have it on bypass so it flies over. Quite a simple one really. Subject scanning, that you can turn off and on as I showed you in the video. That's quite handy as you scan around with your drone, and if you're going to do some tracking, especially on yourself, it will just bring that plus icon up and you just tap it and you're away. It's safe getting your controller and drawing a box, dragging a box around you. It's quite handy if you want to do something in a hurry. You might see a car coming towards you or a boat, and you've got subject tracking on, it's going to spot it straight away. Quite a handy feature. Cruise control. I really like this feature on the Mini 4 Pro, and it's on the Mavic series as well, the Air 3. I think that's a fantastic feature, but you do need to set it up as I showed you in the video. You have to assign those buttons on the back of the RC2 to enable that to work with the Mini 4 Pro. The auto exposure lock, just one I thought I'd slip in. Not many people know that one. So as you're flying around with the Mini 4 or any drone really, and you hit that and hold that auto exposure lock, that will lock that EV value in place, so that when you're scanning around, the exposure is not going to alter, and it will make a difference on your footage. If you keep it in auto, it's going to constantly alter, and it could actually ruin your footage. So it's been around a long time, as I'm sure a lot of you will know. And the last one, the auxiliary light. DJI introduced that new LED on the bottom of the drone, which, as you saw in the video, it's extremely bright. Actually, it doesn't actually give it much justice on the video, but trust me, it is very, very bright when you're using it. And like I say, if you're flying out and you're not relying on these two little strobes at the side, they disappear when you're recording, so you haven't got a clue where that drone is at any time. Flick your auxiliary light on, same thing again. You need to assign it to one of the buttons on the back, and you're good to go. So I hope you got something out of the video, at least one thing. If you have, then give us the old thumbs up. And if you're new around here, why don't you consider subscribing, dinging the dong, and all the rest of it that goes with it. And you might like to watch these couple of videos just here that I've selected for you. And if you do, I shall see you over there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.